morning. I'm on my way to go see Justin Vining at his new gallery. He's a local artist here in Indianapolis, and today I have a food challenge for him, and he has an art challenge for me, so I'm excited to see what happens. Let's check it out. Come on, let's go. Don't get ran over. What's up, Justin?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, fantastic.
Good
You
to see
ready?
you. I'm ready.
I'm about to have some fun. I got the first surprise, all right? And so because for a little celebration.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Let's get started.
All right, let's do it.
Pop that baby open.
And I actually don't know the proper etiquette. Should I open it or should you open it?
I think you should open it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got a little setup right here.
All right.
If you can't tell by now, I think we're gonna do a little bit of painting.
I see that.
So I'm gonna have you paint the lemon.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be painting something right beside you, just a little bit different. And at some point, I'll show you what I've got going on over there.
Yeah. I brought some salami, some cheese, all that. Because here's the thing. This is why. Because I figured it's going to be something to do with painting. Because, you know, you're a painter.
Yeah.
I think like the old cartoons where it's like the French guy sitting in front of the Eiffel Tower. He's got like a baguette right there,
Yeah.
a bottle of wine and stuff. This bread is fresh. They just made it. It's so soft. San Francisco sourdough. You smell that? Mm. And all this is incorporated in your food story then.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
so
excited.
Yeah, it is important.
I love it. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
So you can sit.
I might actually incorporate the bottle into mine.
Yeah? But you know what this needs? A little snack.
Oh yeah.
So I need to do my own prep here.
Okay.
And you do like cheese and
I am not a picky eater.
I love it.
Yeah, and then at this point, I just have to grab my palette, which is over here. Make sure it's loaded with the proper paint.
Ooh.
It's kind of similar. We're both working.
I think this prep is working,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so at this point, I'm ready.
Justin, here's the thing. So like, you know, the whole theme for today is food, art, one and the same.
Yeah.
And I think it's, you know, it goes for anything you're passionate about and that you're good at, any kind of trade really. And there's a certain amount of prep involved, and there's a certain amount of practice and experience throughout the years.
I would agree.
And I think that's how you get to the point of like, you know, a really good chef not needing a cookbook to go at.
Right.
You know
or maybe not the equivalent, but a paint by numbers.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So right now I'm mixing a few of the colors that Zach will need just to give him a little bit of a head start here, make it just a little bit easier. So thankfully lemons, they're pretty much just yellow.
Some people like the dried salami, some people like this prosciutto, some people like a variety of cheeses, which you need to. With all these, you got olives, you got cheese, you've got a honeycomb, you've got grapes, you've got some kind of pepperoni. I have an aged blue cheese. Give it a shot here.
All right, so I'm gonna grab you a paper towel.
Okay.
Yeah, so you wanna load it up with some of that dark paint.
All right. That dark paint.
So just a little bit of that.
This one.
Yeah.
And is it ready? Is it?
Yep, it's clean, it's ready.
Okay.
So just put a little bit of that on there, and then, yep, and then just kind of dab it out a little bit. Just kind of, yep, poke it out. And now draw the general shape of the lemon.
Yeah, you said like that,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Okay. Yeah, it does feel weird. Feels like a wand. Yes. All right.
Yeah, and you don't have very much paint on there now, so you can just kind of really go for it and just draw it out. It's perfect.
Looks like a potato. And then the little circle things in there. Do I need to draw that?
No, but I would. So when you see the form shadow, sort of where the light stops hitting the lemon, that it's almost like a crescent moon shape.
Right.
You want to make sure you draw that in.
Okay, so like this area right here?
That area.
Okay.
It's looking good. I mean, for your first painting since finger painting,
yeah,
you're doing. So when we were originally talking about the concept, at first I was thinking about fancy meals and complex recipes and just, but it's interesting, the more you question me and the more you sort of dove down and pressed me on how food has sort of impacted my life.
His story is great. That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what Beyond Our Plate is about. It's not these big extravagant meals. Maybe sometimes it is, but it's about those stories that are so personal to everyone that no one in the world would guess why he smashes salami in between two pieces of bread with no crust. Looks like the yolk of an egg, fried egg, and the size is, here we go. So that's the yolk of the egg there, and the edges of the fried part of the egg. That's what I see. So probably not a lemon yet. All right. It's kind of tough because I want to make Justin proud here. And, you know, at first it's not really looking like much yet, but it's shaping up. Hopefully I'm doing it right. Justin, am I doing it right? I don't know.
I think the great thing about art is there's really not a wrong way.
Intermission, Sam.
I have never had honey and salami before. I cannot wait to try
Oh,
this.
yeah. The honeycomb. Killed it. And we killed it there too. Killed it, Justin.
Killed it.
Oh, wow.
So here is my still life of the Wonder Bread, the salami, and then the champagne that you brought. Thank you again.
Oh, yeah.
So my story. So I think when we initially had the conversation, at first I was just thinking about sort of the most significant memories that I've had with food. And I was actually thinking about at first like big moments, impactful moments. But what's interesting is the more you pressed me on it and the more you challenged me just to think about how food has impacted just even the smallest moments of my life, something sort of came to mind that like I hadn't even really talked about in adulthood, discussed in adulthood, but it's one of the ways that as a kid, food impacted even sometimes my habits in adulthood. So one of the things that I do now every once in a while as even a cheat food is I'll go to the store and I'll get the most basic plain white bread, hard salami, and what I do is I essentially put a couple pieces of salami in the white bread, tear off the crust, and I smash it, and then I eat it. And the reason I do that is as a kid, I grew up in the summers, my grandparents lived on a lake. And as a kid, you never want to stop fishing, turtle hunting, feeding the ducks. You never want to stop doing that stuff to eat food. And so one of the few ways that they would get me to eat is I would run up there, I would grab plain white bread, I would grab the salami, I would take the crust off, I'd smush it, and I'd run right back down to the lakefront, and as I'm out running around, I would eat the sandwich. And so like one of the things I can remember even as a kid I was do is even as I was walking around the lakefront, I would just keep smushing it until it was gone. And I still do that in adulthood. Like every once in a while when I'm craving it, I'll go to the store, and it's the weirdest thing. And it's until you challenged me on like really thinking about that. I hadn't really thought about even why I do that in adult. Yeah, so it's the craziest thing. And so when I was thinking about what to paint, I was like, I love this story, and I love that I still do that, And
Yeah.
it's a cool memory.
So, one, that is an amazing memory, and I love it, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Two, did your wife ever know this reason?
So, no, she definitely didn't know the reason. It's one of those things, we only talked about it after you brought it up, and we talked about doing this here, and it's cool. Yeah. And I think it's interesting how, it's not the most complex recipe in the world. It's actually probably the most basic recipe in the world, but it doesn't have to be super complex and over the top to carry a significant meaning in someone's life.
Exactly, because every single one has those memories of the fancy meal they had and all that stuff, but sometimes it's the most simple thing that takes you back to like when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And like you didn't even know that you carried it still with you to this day, till the day you die. You're still going to get a piece of salami, some Wonder Bread, squish it all together, take off, and go continue painting.
Yeah. Well, I think we should open up and make a sandwich.
I think so. Let's do it.
There really isn't much of a trick other than Well, actually, I mean, I do have a little bit of a routine here.
Okay.
So what I do is I actually make the sandwich first.
Okay.
And then I usually take 4 pieces of salami.
Perfect.
And the way that I like to do it, even though they're rounded, I like to take it pretty much all the way to the corner.
So every bite.
Yeah. And in the middle, you get a little extra. I just start smashing it.
All right.
And this is what I would do as a little kid all the time.
I love it. I feel like a kid. I think I left too much hanging out though. That's perfect. So good. All right.
I could eat like 10 of these.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm curious about is what's turtle hunting?
So I mean, it pretty much is like it sounds. We would run around the lake shore with nets, and we would spend all summer long catching as many turtles as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah.
Are they like big
No,
turtles?
just
or?
like the tiny little ones, and like the biggest ones we caught were, you know, in this size. Yeah, and I mean, we did that all summer long. Wow. I mean, it was so fun. And we would sometimes, if we were real lucky, my dad would get in the boat and we would drive around the lake and spin around the lake, you know, catching turtles. Yeah. So yeah, it was super fun.
That's so cool.
And we'd put 2 of them in the middle in a 5-gallon bucket or in a circle, and the first one to exit the circle went to the next round. Yeah. And then we'd spend, you know, a morning or afternoon racing them, and then we'd set them all free.
Wow. And in between, you have this specialty. Yeah. It's almost weird because when you smash it, it's almost like you do have something like mayonnaise on it or something like that.
Yeah.
It goes well with champagne. Just saying. A little modification from when you were a kid.
Oh yeah.
Turtle hunting. You know, when you go to a restaurant, it is great. You have the best meal you can possibly think of. But when you make it yourself, there's something about it that makes it special, right, Justin?
That is right. When you make it yourself, you'll love it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it.
You probably just, yeah, right?
Just right here?
Yeah.
Ooh, did I put my name? Ooh, beyond our plate. That's what.
Yes.
And thanks so much for playing along. I think it's gonna be a great video.
Thank you.
Cheers. Sam?
That was fun. That really was fun.
Do you know why? Because it means something to you.
Yeah.
That's why. That's what makes all these fun.
Yeah. It was super fun.